welcome to Knobcat Games Dungeons of the Obelisk podcast. I'm your host, Joe Sleppy, and I'm joined today by our code master, Kel Moeller.
Hey, thanks for having me again.
Yeah, no problem. I actually wanted to tell you before we got started, the last episode you were on is like the most popular episode by like at least 25%. I just looked at the stats while we were getting ready.
Really?
Yeah, so I don't know, everybody was on that last episode with you, but so maybe that was it, but that's the only episode you were on, and it's, got the highest downloads, so
That's concerning.
yeah, I'm not sure. Not sure what that means, but I wanted to tell you about it. For the listener, if this is your first time with us, this is a podcast. We're a small game dev studio. We're a bunch of artists that decided to make a 2D turn-based dungeon crawling loot grinding adventure, and we are 2 or 3 months into working on it, and we're now on prototype 4. Last episode we talked to Ben and Nika about the update, and we're always just very impressed with what you've done, Kel, and now we have you on the episode, so we get to hear the behind the scenes on actually making this game.
I haven't heard the last episode yet, so that's amazing. Like, thank you so much. I'm happy that you guys enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm just blown away with it. I've been playing it since you gave it to me about, what has it been, 2 or 3 days now? I've just been playing it like all my free time, I've been putting off doing other stuff and just grinding in this game and, trying to find bugs and stuff, but we actually got most of those knocked out pretty quick, and it's
coming together.
There's a lot to, there's a lot to do yet, but it's really coming together.
Yeah.
So we did have a lot of new stuff in there. Actually, we haven't even talked to you about like the turn meter yet. That was one of the biggest changes in prototype 4 was the new turn meter.
Yeah, that actually took most of my time. This milestone, yeah, because it was the biggest task for me. Yeah, I know it looks simple, but I needed to rework a lot of things happening behind the scenes during battle.
You completely redid the turn algorithm, basically, like how we determine turn order.
Right, and it was based on your idea. I think it works well. It's fair. It's fair for everyone. It's fair to the mobs and to the player, and not like before where it was a lot of waiting around, right, and watching the meters.
Yeah, for sure.
It's more fun now.
That bugged me so much in the last prototype when the turn, because you would stack tons of speed and the mobs would still go every 2 turns, and it would be I'd be looking at their speed and they'd have 20 speed and I'd have 200, and I'd be why am I still getting hit every other turn here? And then I spent a whole I don't know, I just had this epiphany about it when I was driving to the day job one day, which is about an hour and a half commute, and I was just running all these ideas in my head on how turn order could work, and it just kind of I don't know, it just fell into place and it felt right. And then I got to work and spent about an hour and a half typing up how it should work to you. So instead of doing my day job, which is hopefully nobody from work ever listens to this, but
yeah, I was about to say. Yeah, I think it feels much better, because whenever I try playing one of those older Japanese RPGs, one of the older Final Fantasies, it feels like a lot of waiting around, and nowadays it's I don't know. It could be because I'm older, or it's because of the games that are out now, and people have gotten more impatient, you know, or at least I have, and it's difficult getting through those older games. You know, like where half of the time nothing's happening because you're just waiting. So I think it's perfect now because like there's always something happening, whether you're getting hit or you know it's your turn or whatever.
Yeah, for sure. And it looks really intuitive too. You know, I had the idea of I kept calling it like a Tetris style where it shows you the upcoming block basically. And I've played a few versions of Tetris where they had like multiple upcoming blocks. So like that was kind of my idea for that. And then you like took it and ran with it and made it come from like both sides. So it looks like, you know, the battle's kind of converging in the middle of the screen. It looks really good.
Yeah, I actually had it coming from one side. That was our original plan, if you remember, right? And I already had it set up like that, but like I wasn't happy with it. So, and at that point, like I actually already spent a lot of time on it, so it was pretty frustrating for me to like, okay, I don't like how this looks. I don't want to leave it like this. So I did it. I made it so the heads are coming from both sides, and like that's how it exactly feels, right? Like it looks like they're converging in the middle, and that's where the battle happens. And that was the whole concept behind that. And like I'm happy it worked out.
Yeah, I've found in life we call it chopping and changing. I don't know if you've ever watched Sips from the Yogscast, but he'll play like city builders and things like that, and he calls it chopping and changing. And my instinct is always to like build something and then keep it, you know, because you've spent that time on it, you have that sunk cost factor. But from watching him play video games, I've learned, you know, that you can't, if something's not working, you gotta chop and change and go back and spend that time to fix it instead of building on top of something that's not working. So I'm glad that you went back and fixed our turn meter.
Yeah, it's one of those things that a lot of creatives, you know, not just game developers, have a lot of trouble with. So that's where the term "kill your babies" come from. You know, like a lot of people.
Yeah.
A lot of people have difficulties like letting things go because they feel like, okay, well, I've spent like 5 days on this already. Like, you know, like I'm just gonna keep it, right? So
it really is that sunk cost fallacy where you think like, oh, I spent 10 hours on this already. You know, I hate to waste those 10 hours, but you know, you end up building the game on top of something that's not working, and then everything eventually crumbles later on and you've lost way more time.
Right. And it's also adds to the appeal of the game, right? And like it's hard to put a metric on that or like numbers, but like because it's a visual thing, the turn meter is a visual thing, and it's like a big like prominent piece of UI, you know, like on top of the screen. So once you start showing this game off, and once like we have screenshots and videos up, like it could be something that like could be interesting for people, you know. But it's hard to put like like have like metrics like tracking and stuff like that. But it's one of those things that can make or break the game. So like lots of little things like that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we've already spent, you know, a podcast talking about it, you know, with the other guys. And then I did a blog post about it, and now we're talking about it again. So I feel like it is hopefully it's interesting to everyone else, because it's super interesting to me.
Right. And it's actually not done yet. Sorry.
Oh, it's not done yet?
It's not done yet because you can see the character head, for example, is just like a bald guy. So so I need to create like a system where it takes your current character and it turns it into an image, at least the head part, and then that becomes the icon up there. So that will take some work.
Yeah. That's interesting. I noticed that it wasn't the character like initially, but I kind of forgot about that. So Might not be super important as long as it looks kind of like your character. but yeah. What else is new in this update? I feel like you did a ton of stuff that
it's a lot. It's mostly polishing, you know, because we've been, like you said, like it's been like 3-4 months into development already, and we've been kind of like blitzing through all of the features, you know, like, and so we haven't had a lot of time like just sitting down and like polishing stuff, because that's how it is usually in the beginning. You just want to get all of the features, all of the major features in there, because you want it to feel like a game as soon as possible, so you can make decisions, you know, like, because sometimes you have stuff on paper and like it sounds good in your head, and like, but like once it's in the game, it's different, right?
Yeah.
This milestone, we focused on just cleaning up a lot of stuff and like polishing and and like bug fixing, and we also have new features, of course, not just polishing and bug fixing. We have a new level selector, and you can actually, we've been playing through that like one dungeon for like 3 months, right? So it's kind of getting stale. It's actually still there, but you know, now you actually feel like you're going through the obelisk now.
Yeah, exactly. You kind of, the floors are laid out in a way that you kind of are going down deeper as you get on a higher levels. The numbers higher, dungeon level 10, it's actually, I guess, -10 if you were on an elevator or something. But yeah, it's really good. It's, you know, we still only have the one mob that's, you know, the glub is the trash mob, and it's a mob that's supposed to be pretty easy to defeat. So level 10 is still kind of easy once you get a bunch of loot, but it still feels like you can progress down through the dungeon and you know, getting higher level loot. That's something that we couldn't do before, so now we have that system in the game where you can actually drop loot with more stats and stuff on it.
Yeah, definitely, it's getting there, you know. And yeah, you're right, like the glove isn't, especially at the later levels, because like I think at level 7 they can still do like 1 damage to you, so yeah, it's not very challenging. So for the next milestone, we're gonna put in another enemy. It's the rat, right? I forgot what it's called.
Yeah, the puke rat.
The puke rat, right? Also, I'm looking forward to like adding different equipment, because right now we just have that one set of armor. So I think like stuff like that.
Oh yeah, visually.
Yeah, visual stuff like that.
Ben has completed one. He did the uncommon. I keep wanting to call it a set of armor, but it's not a set, because a set is something else, you know, later in the game that we haven't gotten to yet. But it's all the uncommon loot now has art for it that you'll have to stick in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw it. It looks cool. I like how with this new set, you can see the character's face, because that's one of the big features, right? Like the character creator, but like with the set of armor, like it's pretty much wasted, because all characters end up like looking the same.
Yeah, we just have that placeholder like set of armor. Eventually you'll have to add a setting that hides the helmet. You know, that's a pretty common feature in most of these style games, is you can hide the helmet so you can see your character's face. Yeah,
that'd be great. Yeah,
but you know, not super high on the priority list at the moment. But another thing that you added that I think is game changing, that we forgot to talk about last episode, is the health meters.
Oh right, on the mobs, right?
Yeah, we can now see like how much you're doing, like how much damage you're doing to the mob. You know, it varies because the mobs have different levels, you know, different amounts of HP, but you can still hit them and see the red bar go down a little bit, and that like to me really changed the game. It made it feel like you can tell how much damage you're doing.
Yeah.
Kind of like how the turn meter made it like you can tell what your dexterity is doing for you. Now with those health meters on the mobs, you can tell what your strength is doing for you. How much damage you're putting out.
Right. Yeah, that was actually one of your notes on one of the documents. It wasn't even on my task list for this milestone, but I think it was was like one like tiny note you had. I think you even added like a question mark, like health bars or something like that. Or
yeah. I feel like every time I ask you to do something, I have this like feeling in the back of my head where I'm like, how hard is this to do? Am I asking for something crazy, or am I asking for something that's going to take 10 minutes? So like, I don't know how much work goes into making a health bar for a mob.
Yeah, you know what? I love that. Like, I love that you think like that, actually, because like some people, right, like clients, and like they think like, oh, it's a health bar, how long can it take, right? Like 2 minutes, right? But like there's stuff like people don't consider that need to go behind, like that happens behind the scenes, like, to like get that health bar working, right? So I really like that. That's how you think, because like if you were the programmer and like people were like throwing like new features, requesting new features at you, and not even considering like, oh, this is difficult or it's not. So like I really appreciate that.
Yeah, it makes sense to me because like, I'm having you program the game because I don't know how to program. So it's like I have to I'm relying on your expertise and knowledge to kind of guide me as well. So whenever I ask for something, I want you to tell me like, oh no, that's going to take a lot of time, that is unreasonable right now, or, something like that. So it's a give and take, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Actually, sometimes it's even harder if you have experience programming, because like maybe for you it can take like, I don't know, like 20 minutes, but it's not the same for everyone, So
right, everybody works differently for sure.
Yeah, so when your lead is like someone who has like experience doing it, they assume you can do it as fast as them or as slow as them sometimes. So yeah, it's different.
Yeah, I mean, we have on our show notes a question I've been wanting to ask you. Like, how hard has it been to take like my 70-page design document and start making it into a game?
It is pretty challenging, because we've had a fair amount of issues we've ironed out already, and there will be more in the coming months. But I know it's going to be a process, because it's always difficult getting your idea across to collaborators, especially in a written format, right? That's just how it is, right?
Yeah, you told me before, like, a lot of projects you're on, you don't have a design document like that, or that's like 2 pages. They haven't spent the time on it. For me, I wanted to spend as much time as I possibly could working everything out in my head and, using a calculator and doing some math and stuff before I got you doing it, because I felt like that made a lot of sense to make your job easier, but I'm not sure if it did or not.
It definitely helps, because I constantly go back and forth from the document into the game engine and see if I'm doing it right. But it's still hard, because like sometimes the ideas are in your head, and even though you write everything out, it's still like for the other person, maybe like there's still a piece of information missing from the document. So it's always sure. Like that. It has to be a conversation, right? So lots of back and forth, even with like a 50-page document. So especially with a game like this, right? Because there's a lot of like formulas and like little details.
Yeah.
But it's fun, like it's one of the things I find fun about like game programming, especially if it's not my idea. Sometimes it's easier to work with someone else's idea, actually, because if it was me working on this game and it was completely my idea, I would constantly keep changing things, you know, like because I can do it,
Yeah.
right? Sometimes that freedom is not good. So and you 3 months later, like I'm still stuck like experimenting with different game ideas because like I keep changing things. So sometimes it's great, you know, like working with someone else's idea. So
That's one thing that I find in making music and stuff is it's pretty common knowledge that restriction breeds creativity. That's kind of like a saying I hear all the time, you know, from musicians and stuff. And like I'm looking at my desk right now, and instead of like I have a dozen synthesizers and 11 of them are on the shelf behind me, and I have one on my desk, and it's so much easier to create with one synthesizer, kind of being like, all right, well, I gotta use this, instead of like having all of them out and being like overwhelmed with choice, or you know, going back and forth and stuff. And that's something that I find in music a lot is you know, people will spend days, like no joke, months tweaking like a kick drum sound or something. And to me, like, I want to get that drum sound as close as possible and just have it be a drum sound, because when the person listens to it, they're not going to notice that month of work that you put into it. They're just going to hear a kick drum, and you can drive yourself crazy like changing things and trying to polish things that don't need it. So that's like my design philosophy, I think, is to kind of get things done, you know. Done is better than perfect a lot of the time.
yeah, definitely. And that's where the document comes in, you know, and you've laid out all of your ideas in there. So you're taking your music making approach and like applying it to games too. So I think that's one of the things that's gonna ensure that this game gets completed, you know, that mentality. Because like some people could like spend like years, you know, obsessing over the little details. But you're right, like done is better than perfect, right? Because
Yeah.
if it never gets finished, right, like what's the point of like working on it?
Yeah, nobody gets to play it then. You know, if it launches and it's a little bit janky, or we don't have all the features or whatever, at least people will get to play it. And even if they were playing what we have right now, I think people would still enjoy it. And, you know, not to bring too much business into it, but at some point we have to start making money so that we can keep working on the game. You know, I'm eventually going to run out of my life savings, and we want to get to a point where the game can make some income, so that we can keep working on it, you know, to get it to the point where we want it to be. You know, there's a lot of features that I want to add that get moved to later. You know, we keep saying like that's something we can do after launch, or you know, once we get everything out. So it's, you know, it's pretty crucial, I think, to get it to a point where people can start enjoying it, and then if they really enjoy it, they can, you know, give us a little bit of money so that we can keep the studio open.
Yeah,
keep the servers on.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, and we're getting there, you know, like with every month it starts feeling more and more like a game. It's amazing.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just trying to think. We're getting close to our time on the podcast, so I'm trying to think if there's any other, you know, big features or anything that we should talk about. Have you actually had any time to like play the game? You know, I know you're working on it all the time, but do you ever get to like, you know, run the dungeons and make a build for your character and see how it goes?
Yeah, but not as much as you know, because like whenever I start playing, I always find something to fix, you know, like for example those health bars on the mobs, that's actually one of the last things I added before I wrapped up the milestone, because like I was done with everything, and I was playing the game, and I was like, I don't even know if I'm doing damage, you know, like how much damage am I, like how much health do they have left? And I had to like click on the mob to see like how much HP they had left, right? And
Yeah.
and then I was going through that document that you made for me, and I scrolled all the way down, and you had a note there like HP bars question mark or something. I don't know. And then I was like, oh, I missed this. Like, yeah, I can add this, and I actually repurposed the turn meter, the old turn meter that I still had there, and I just tinted it red instead of blue. And like I coded in the functionality, and I'm like, oh, this is like way better. So it's always like that for me. Whenever I play the game, I get to like level 3, and I'm like, oh my god, I need to fix this thing, and I need to change this. I need to move this 5 pixels to the right or something. So it's difficult. It's hard for me because like I'll always find something to fix. So that's why for you, like you get to enjoy it for like a few hours, or like Nika and Ben can do that, or like someone else who's not programming the game. But for me, it's harder to like sit there and not do anything about it, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, another music analogy is like, people will make, like a lot of people will spend a lot of time on a track and keep like every time they listen to it, they have to go back in and change the reverb or something, whereas it's what I like to do is, I'll make a track and then I export it and get out of the program where I can work on it and go listen to it in the car. So you get that like experience of hearing it the whole way through without being able to change anything. So I don't know how that relates to game design, but if there's a way to do that or not, but
I think it depends on the person,
Yeah, for sure.
But I think for like maybe game programmers, it's when the game actually launches and you're past the deadline already, and you have no choice, right? Like you can't go back and fix it. Yeah. So you have to. That's when you're forced to actually sit down and like play it, and like, okay, like this is actually a pretty good game, right? But you like even up to that point, I think you'll still find like flaws and like things that you want to fix. But it depends on the person, like because like I've worked with people who are just happy to like get it over with and like move on to whatever's next, and that's it, because they don't have pride, I guess, or like attachment to their creation. So actually that's more common than not, actually. So because it's just a job for most people.
Yeah, I see that a lot, and I try to keep that in mind for like things, every profession. A lot of people are just doing it. Not everybody has like a passion for what they're doing. I have a day job and I kind of hate it, but my style of working is to kind of take ownership for things that I'm doing. But I've noticed a lot of coworkers and stuff, they're just kind of, they don't have like a heart in it, or they don't have what was the word you said earlier for
pride?
They just don't have like the pride in it. Exactly. So like it's exciting to me that we found you and you actually are enjoying making the game. That was a question that I had that you answered earlier, was are you having fun programming it? Because I'm having fun making like these documents, and every meeting we have, I enjoy talking about it. If you can't tell, our podcast is at 30 minutes right now. And Ben and Nika, they keep talking about enjoying like drawing and animating. So it's good that all 4 of us are enjoying the process of making this game.
Yeah, because it's a marathon, right? Like it's not really a sprint. So like you have to find ways to like convince yourself that you like enjoy what you're doing. Otherwise, you won't make it to the end, right? Like it's not just with this game. It's like with every project. Like it's like that, and like that's how like people get burnt out and never finish anything, because like at some point they don't enjoy what they're doing anymore. So for me, I've been making a lot of I've been making games. I've made a lot of games, and like with every project, like I find things that I enjoy, and like I try to like put myself into the game as much as I can. That way, like I can take ownership of it, you know, like, and I feel like it's my game, and that's how it is with this game, you know, like that's what I do, that's what I'm doing, because like I'm putting in some of my ideas as well, and I'm trying to like put my mark on it, you know, so that's why I enjoy making it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I feel like, you know, at the beginning it was my game, you know, I'm the one that made the document and had the initial idea and stuff, but now it definitely feels like it's our game. You know, it wouldn't be the same without Ben's art, it wouldn't be the same without Nika's animation, and like it certainly wouldn't be the same without everything that you've put into it. So it's really exciting to see how it's coming together.
Yeah, definitely feel the same.
Awesome. On that note, we're definitely over our time for the podcast. I hope people are enjoying listening to it this far. If you've made it this far and you're enjoying the podcast, but you're not in our Discord channel, definitely go to knobcat.com, find the link to the Discord, and join our server, because that's where we post all of our first updates for art and, you know, animations. Nika's been doing a great job of posting her new animations there. That's where you can get like the first link to my videos and stuff of the new prototype. That's something that I'm going to work on later today, I think, is getting a video out for this prototype and having, you know, that series updated. So knobcat.com for all of your Dungeons of the Obelisk needs. Definitely check out the Instagram at Dungeons Obelisk. Nika's been doing a good job of posting updates there too. And I guess we'll talk to you guys in 2 weeks. Bye.
Bye.